Goeiedag kinders, hoe gaan dit met julle? Dis tyd vir Afrikaans. Vandag ons wil die negatiewe vorm leer. Today we are going to learn how to change a sentence and a question into its negative form. Ek sal die reëls volg wat jy moet onthou en 'n paar byvoorbeeld verduidelik. Maar voordat ons begin, in die Engelstaal, kan jy my vertel wat die negatiewe vorm is? I'll explain the rules using examples so that you can get a better understanding. But before we start, can you tell me what the negative forms are in the English language? For example, cannot. I'll give you a chance to think of others. Well done. Let's see if we have the same. Let's read them together. Do, does not, was not, has not, will not, and did not. Can you see what they all have in common? Yes, it's the word not. Fantastic. In Afrikaans, the negative form of a sentence or a question will contain the word not. And do you know what the word not is in Afrikaans? Well done. The correct word is nie. During the lesson, you will see the word nie is written in red and in capital letters. This is to remind you where it goes. Remember, when doing your activity, you may write it in color, but not in capital letters. Why won't you write it in capital letters? That's correct. We don't write capital letters in the middle of a sentence. In die negatiewe vorm, wat ons moet onthou is, as ons 'n sin in Engels na die negatiewe vorm verander, gebruik ons die negatiewe woord een keer. Maar in Afrikaans gebruik ons dit een of twee keer. In the negative form, we must remember, if we change a sentence in English to the negative form, we use the negative word once, but in Afrikaans, we use it once or twice. Do you see the picture on the screen? Well done. Yes, it's a little boy. And this little boy or a person has two knees. So something to help us to remember the negative form, we must put two knees in our sentence. Voordat ons die reëls doen, kan jy onthou wat 'n werkwoord is? Kan jy my vertel? Baie goed. 'n Werkwoord vertel ons wat iemand of iets doen. Dit 'n doen of aksiewoord. Remember, it is important to be able to identify the action words in a sentence because the nie word comes after the verb. At this point, take a minute to read what's on the screen. This serves as a reminder to help you with the sentences. Kom ons begin met die reëls. Can you remember the trick I taught you about the person having two knees? In Afrikaans, there are sentences that are exceptions. That means they don't follow the rule. These sentences I call the pirate sentences. Can you guess why? Well done. You got it. Can you see the pirate on the screen? He only has one leg, therefore one knee. This leads us to the first rule. Reël nommer 1. This sentence is very simple. For example, ek hardloop. I run. As you can see, there is a subject, a verb, but no object. No one is receiving the action. So when you turn it into the negative, it only gets one knee. And where does it go? Very good. After the verb. If we look at the sentence I read on the left-hand side of the screen, what do we add in English to change it to its negative form? Well done. That's correct. We add do not. I do not read. But in Afrikaans, if we add the nie in the same place as in English, it will not make sense. Look at the sentence that is circled. Hierdie sin is verkeerd. Ek nie lees. Does it sound correct to you? No, it doesn't, right? Kan jy die reël met die woord nie en die werkwoord onthou? Can you remember the rule with the word nie and the verb? Kan jy my vertel? Can you tell me? Baie goed. Die nie is aan die einde van die sin. Here we look at the next rule. In these sentences, they get two nies. Why do you think they get two nies? Very good. That's because they have a subject, verb, and object. Where do you think the nies go? Can you remember the rules? Very good. The first ni comes after the verb and the second ni goes to the end. Let's look at the example. Let's look at the sentence. Can you read it with me? Ek het 'n broer. I have a brother. Can you identify the verb? Kan jy my vertel wat is die werkwoord? Baie goed. Die werkwoord is het. Do you remember where the first ni goes? Well done. It goes after the verb. So where does the second ni go? Very good. You're getting it. It goes to the end of the sentence. Die eerste nie kom agter die werkwoord en die tweede nie gaan aan die einde. Take a minute to look at the next example. Ek lees 'n boek. Do you understand what happened to the sentence and how it changed to its negative form? Kan jy my die reëls van die twee nies vertel? Can you tell me what are the rules? Well done. The first goes after the verb and the second goes at the end of the sentence. Let's move on to the last rule. Reël nommer 3. It gets a little trickier when it comes to a question, but the previous rules apply. So if you remember the rules, you'll be able to do it. Can you remember what is the first rule? That's very good. What was the second rule? Well done. It's okay if you didn't understand it the first time. Go back, watch the video again, pause the video, and work through the example slowly. Just keep practicing. In the English language, we know it's a question when we start with a question word. Can you name a few? That's great. There are plenty of question words. But do you know what makes a question in the Afrikaans language? Did you give it a guess? Well done. If you said something along the lines of, a question begins with a verb and ends with a question mark, you're doing really well. Keep it up. 'n vraag begin met 'n werkwoord en eindige met 'n vraagteken. Let's look at the example. Praat jy baie? It is asking a question. The word praat is the verb, and the word baie goes at the end, where there is a question mark. Jy is the subject. It is talking about you. Do you talk a lot? And because it's a question, we have to answer with a yes or a no. A ja of a nee. Because we are doing the negative form, we will say nee. Ek praat nie baie nie. As long as you remember the nie rules, you will be able to do the activity. Let's look at the last example. Kan jy 'n boek lees? Can you read a book? Before we change it into the negative, I want you to look at the sentence that begins with ja. Here, the question has been answered. Kan jy 'n boek lees? Ja, ek kan 'n boek lees. Like in the English language, the pronoun you moved to the front of the sentence and became I. It happens in Afrikaans as well. Kan jy becomes ek kan. Now you can go on and change it to the negative form. Remember your rules. For the rest of the video, pause if you need to. It is the activity based on today's lesson. Give it a try and see how well you can do. I've provided 2 examples that you can follow. On the left-hand side of the screen, you will see an example of how to set up your work for your piece of paper. Don't forget to write the date and the heading. Then follow the example and follow the steps. Step 1, write down your question. Step 2, write down your yes answer. And step 3, write down your no answer. You can use a colored pencil to write in the ni words to remind you where they go. Remember to set your work out carefully, and good luck. Well done, grade 3s. You made it to the end of today's lesson. Dankie en totsiens. Sien julle in die volgende week.